Cheers.
Cheers.
To another show.
Do this again?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of #AskLiveLeanTV. Yes, I just took your line.
That's okay.
But we're in a little bit of rush today. Our kids are on the brink of waking up,
they're both awake, but the grandparents are watching them, so hopefully they can entertain them and keep them quiet while we do this show, and we'll try to answer as many as possible.
Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. If you're new to the show, welcome. This is the show where when we post a story on our @LiveLeanTV Instagram account, we ask you guys for questions. You type in your questions, then we answer them directly on the show. Unfortunately, to keep things as organized as possible, we're not going to be taking questions from Twitter or Facebook or YouTube. Instagram is where it's at, so go follow us @LiveLeanTV and watch out for that story.
Make sure you check the stories on Instagram because that's where we're going to be taking the questions from, and also one question per person per week, please.
Right.
Thank you. We know you guys have like multiple questions. Some of you like ask like 3 or 4 or 6 at a time, but we want to make sure that everyone gets their chance each week on the show. So if you have more than one question, please save them and then answer on the next week and the next week instead of asking them all at once.
And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet to our YouTube channel, make sure you do that. And if you're listening over on the podcast on iTunes or on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure you click the subscribe button as well. And let me know over on Twitter @BradGuthrie what you think of the show on the podcast, because that's how we hang out with our podcast listeners. All right, so let's jump in.
Okay, first question. We're going to take this one from Agiga1121. What are your thoughts on getting 10K steps a day and wearing a step counter?
I like it. It's a simple way to measure progress. So if you're not aware, like 10,000 steps is kind of the generic, I guess, goal for walking in a day, and it's very achievable.
It's like the decidedly healthy amount.
But you know
for most people.
You know what I've noticed? So if you guys are new to the show, like we recently lived in downtown San Diego in a condo, so we walked everywhere. We actually we
had no car for a
year and a half without a car because we just lived in the downtown.
Yeah.
And now we moved to kind of like the burbs of San Diego, and we drive everywhere. I've noticed like my steps are way down compared to what they were.
But we do have a bigger house with a staircase, so I don't know. I feel like it kind of equals out a little bit, but not as much, because we did have to used to walk to the grocery store, walk to the gym, walk to the library. Like everywhere we went, we were on foot.
Yeah.
So I do think we get fewer steps now, but we still take our dog for like long neighborhood walks. Like we do still get a lot of steps in. But
yeah, but I haven't really. I broke my Apple Watch. So I don't have a step counter right now, but I would be willing to bet there's certain days where I don't get 10,000. Naughty Brad, but it's a good goal. Like it's one of those things where it's just something to try to achieve. And if you're watching it on your step counter, it's just kind of like, oh, I got to, like, I remember when I first had my watch, I would look at it at 8 o'clock at night or wherever.
It would motivate you to
I'd be at 8,000. I'm like, I got to go just walk somewhere, and I'd go do it.
Take Bruno for an extra walk or something.
So I really do like the idea of having a measurable goal that you can actually look at.
Yeah. I've never personally been a step counter or like interested in knowing exactly how many steps I take in a day. And I think that's because like I just know like I get plenty of activity. Like for me, it's never really been something that I've like struggled to be more active. I feel like I'm just like a naturally active person. I'm sure that I get a minimum of 10K steps a day. But if you don't, I know, right? I should test. Like that's what I was going to say. Like it's good for anyone if you're like not sure if you're actually considered active or not, especially when you're setting your calorie count to either lose weight or gain weight. It's good for you to know, like, are you actually an active person if you think you are? So using a step counter could just give you like a reality check and like tell you actually where you are instead of you just making assumptions. But that's coming from someone who's over here making assumptions.
I know, right?
Myself. So I do think it could be helpful for you, a Giga, but obviously optional.
I like it.
So, yeah.
All right, next question from Yasi says, I just started FormulaX. So that's one of Jessica's programs. Would something like yoga be okay for active rest?
Absolutely. I highly, highly recommend doing yoga on your active rest days. I feel like yoga is such a great complement to really any program, especially like a strength and cardio training program, because you need to stay flexible and mobile and agile, and you need that kind of like yin yang balance that yoga gives you to balance out your strength and cardio training. Because if you don't do enough of that type of work, then you might start feeling stiff and achy. So yeah, I highly recommend you use your active rest days for activities just like that.
Yeah,
definitely.
Just the breathing is really great as well. And a lot of people are not aware of this, but we actually have a follow along yoga video course program that you guys can click play, and it's actually led by Desiree Rumba, and that's Jessica's mom. She's an international yogi. She travels the world teaching yoga, and she actually put us through
yoga specifically for athletes.
Yeah, specifically for Live Leaners, actually. So we talked to her or she asked us where are some of the tight parts and the concerns that Live Leaners have with, the resistance training and HIIT sprint training. And so we went through all those things. So I would highly recommend you guys, if you're interested in yoga and you want to actually work out alongside of us, go pick up that program. We'll link it down below.
Yeah, I love that question, because using those active rest days wisely is exactly what I want you guys to do with them. Like, that's what active rest is, like, do something other than what's in the program, but not just nothing, you know? So being active, doing yoga, doing other types of stuff is like exactly, you're doing the right thing. So thanks for that question. Okay, CML 215. Would either one of you consider going vegetarian/vegan?
Never had this question before. But, well, you tell your spiel, because you did go vegan. Is it
vegetarian/vegan? I feel like those are two pretty different
Well, they just mean and/or.
Like and/or.
Or.
Yeah, so just to let you guys know, if you're new to following us, I have talked about this before, but I've actually done a vegan diet in preparation for a figure show. This was back in, what year was it? 2014? No, earlier than that. No, it was
before I knew you.
Yeah, it had to be like 2011, I think it might have been. So it's been a little while since I did it, but I did it for 4 months strictly because I was so interested to know that if I could get same, similar, or better results without animal protein sources. Because you guys know when you're training for like a fitness competition where you're on stage in a bikini, usually the diet is very heavy in animal proteins. Like basically all you're eating is like chicken, fish, lean meats, and then like, vegetables and stuff. So I was wondering, like, can I do this on a vegetarian or vegan diet? And I kind of wanted to prove it to myself and prove to everyone if it could be equivalent or just as good or better even. And my results were pretty good, but at the end of my little experiment, I decided it wasn't for me. I wasn't thrilled enough with the results. I struggled a lot getting my macros right and getting that sense of balance with my nutrition. So yeah, long story short, I didn't stick to it. What I decided to do after that was basically keep my diet mostly the same. Like I was still eating mostly plant-based, but including quality sources of animal protein in my meals to help kind of balance things out. So that was my conclusion of my experiment. I did think that my body got similar results aesthetically, although I didn't feel like I was able to maintain as much muscle. So I felt slim and lean, but just not as strong and muscular, if that makes sense. So how about you?
We actually talked about this just recently.
Yeah, you listened to this podcast.
I don't want to get into all that. Well, one of the things that came out of the podcast that I was listening to, they mentioned that they're actually trying to, I think they actually are recreating meat in a laboratory where it's
not from animals.
Not
right?
from animals, but it's actually meat. The same nutritional profiles, everything that you get from eating meat from an animal, you get from this exact. So it's not soy-based, it's not all of these things. It's actually, don't ask me how they're doing it. Like, I don't know how they 3D print guns either, but somehow they're doing it. And I'd be like, you know what? If it's exactly the same nutrient profile as meat, I'm all on board for it, because like, I love animals. Like, I don't want to like brutally harm animals, and I don't support the meat that comes from these feedlots and everything like that. That's why I always buy as humanely raised animals as possible.
Right.
I know, in the end, they still, they give their life for food for us.
Right.
But I'm just a strong believer in the nutritional value that comes from that. And that's why I would maybe try vegan for just like a short term, but I would never go into it saying, oh, I'm just going to turn vegan right now. So, you know what I mean? Like I would be like, let me just do a 30-day thing just to see what it's like so I can actually say that I've done it. But I don't think I would ever be like, I'm just going to turn vegan right now.
And that's what I did for 4 months, and I was very interested to just honestly find out like what were the real results going to be like. And you guys, I was like meticulous about this. I kept a spreadsheet with data. I like logged everything I ate every day for months. And, you know, I was really curious to find out a real conclusion, because you listen to everyone and all these people are telling you this diet's better, this diet's better. And the only way to really know for yourself what really feels good for yourself is to do it. You know, to really try it, to really live it for a while. And I've talked about this before, like I felt bloated a lot of times because I felt like I was eating a lot of beans and rice and nuts and like higher portion sizes of really high fiber foods in order to get my protein needs. Yeah. And then it kind of made me feel like stuffed, and my belly would get distended, and I felt a lot of like negative symptoms. And my gym workouts, I felt like my strength kept decreasing instead of increasing. So, and this is just me personally, like I know everyone's results are not the same. So, you know, I'm sure that those people who are strongly promoting it and telling everyone to do it and stuff are probably honestly experiencing great results from it. But you're not going to know what's right for you unless you personally try it. So I actually, you know, I've told you this before, I feel like you should just do it for a short term.
We'll see. I'm not like committing to anything right now at all. But I would say for a fact that if I ever did decide to do it, I would have to follow a program because I wouldn't know how. We get people asking us all the time, can you do a vegan plan for me or a vegan nutrition plan? I'm like, no, that's not my lane. I don't know. I'm not going to take your money because I just don't know how to do it.
And when I did it, I did actually sit down and consult with a nutritionist. Like we talked about my nutrition needs and what foods I could source to fulfill those and everything. And at the time I was supplementing with protein like quite a bit, like at least twice a day I had to supplement with like pea and hemp protein powder.
B vitamins as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end I was like, God, am I gonna have to live on like supplements and vitamins forever? It just didn't feel like my diet was complete because I was having to outsource certain nutrients. So yeah, I do think if you are gonna go vegan or vegetarian, you really have to be diligent about making sure you fill all those nutritional bases. And it was hard, man. It was hard for me. I didn't enjoy the results or the process. And so in the end, I decided to, like I said, go back to mostly plant-based with quality animal protein sources. And now it's been years, like I think it was 2011. We're talking like 8 years ago. And in those past 8 years, I feel like I've really come to a place of knowing what works for me and like eating in a way that really makes me feel my leanest, my strongest, my healthiest. And also the numbers check out. Like every time I see a doctor, have blood work done, everything
they're like, oh my, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's the same thing with me. Like when I get my blood test done, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
And whatever you're doing at your age, keep doing it.
And that's why we're so passionate about sharing the way that we do things. But okay.
That was a long answer.
That was a long answer.
Okay. From Alexis123 XOXO, why do you choose protein powders after the gym versus food? Isn't food healthier? So yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let me just quickly answer this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So food is definitely healthier than protein powder, but the reason that we want to have protein powder after the gym is because of the speed. So when you're after you work out, like your body is just craving nutrients. Like think of your body as a sponge. So when you put a dry sponge into water, it just soaks everything up. Think about that as being your body and your muscle tissues and everything after a workout. It just soaks all the nutrients up. So food takes longer to digest than protein, any type of protein powder, because it's more processed. So that's when I recommend you have protein powders after the gym because of the speed of it. But if you can't afford protein powder, even though like protein powder is cheaper than
food.
We hear that all the time. I can't afford protein powder. Well, protein powder is actually, if you work it per serving, is cheaper than ground beef, chicken, turkey, whatever.
It only seems expensive because you're buying the bulk of it, but
but everything else should be focused on food.
Yeah, definitely. That was a good, short, quick answer, and I agree.
Okay.
VMary01, if I work 9 hours a day in construction, what supplements can help build muscle, I'm assuming? Can
help build muscle. So I know like construction jobs are very taxing on the body. You're moving all the time, you're burning a lot of calories. So if you're looking for supplements specifically, and you're looking to build muscle, I would say a protein powder would be a good start because it's going to help put the amino acids in your body to make sure that you're remaining, in that anabolic state. And just anabolic versus catabolism just means anabolic keeps building. Catabolism, if you don't eat for a long periods of time, it's going to break down muscle tissue. So a protein powder would be good. Branched chain amino acids, which help make up the protein. You could add some of those in as well. But I would say, like, you know, rather than focusing on supplements, I'd be like, just eat calories, get the calories in. So it kind of goes back to the last question.
Like burning a ton of calories.
It goes back to the last question is, you know, the protein powder, that's great around your workouts. And when you're baking with it and those sort of things, or if you're in a time crunch. But I would get into the habit, if you're in construction, get that lunch pail, build it up with food, calories, especially if you're trying to build muscle.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I feel like I kind of have to burst a bubble here that like working in construction 9 hours a day is not necessarily the same type of physical activity as like a muscle building workout. I mean, I do think you're going to build some muscle, but I mean, if this was like a bodybuilder session, then all construction workers would look like bodybuilders.
No,
right?
it depends on where you're starting from.
It does, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think that you should consider your 9-hour workday in construction the same as a workout. Like, if you're looking to build muscle, you know what I mean?
That's not a part of the question.
Oh, okay. So I'm going on a tangent that's not even part of what's asked. But I just don't think that, like, I don't know, this question makes it seem like I'm using my work as my workout, and then I want supplements to go along with it. Maybe that I'm reading the question wrong.
Maybe not. I think you're looking too much into the question. Yeah. So I think you should just take what we talked about.
But I do think you should still work out is what I'm trying to say. Right. Like, even though you're doing 9 hours in construction, which I get it is exhausting, I do still think, like, on your days off or on the weekends or something, still get into the gym and do actual muscle building workouts, because it's going to be...
Yeah, this is somebody who could get away with the typical 4 workouts a week.
Yes.
And then take the rest of the days off because you're working 9 hours in construction.
Because you're doing a ton of physical activity, but it's different than muscle building workouts. That's the point I'm trying to make. Van Egmond Drew, BCAAs or post-protein for muscle soreness?
Oh.
Post-protein, probably just meaning post-workout.
Post-workout protein. Both.
Yeah, so I would do both.
I would like put the post-workout protein on a pedestal, and then if you have money left over in your supplement budget, that's when BCAAs can come in. So again, it's like when you go into the gym, you're tearing down your muscle fibers. They need to be rebuilt, and the amino acids that are within protein help with that. So the branched chain amino acids are the essential amino acids which your body can't produce on its own. So we need to take those in via food or via supplements. And those 3 essential amino acids are critical in helping rebuild muscle and help taking you out of that catabolic state. I just caught myself saying oat. My Canadian accent just came out there. Out.
Taking you out.
Taking you out of that catabolic state. Yeah.
I think the way a lot of people do it is to have BCAAs intro workout.
That too.
While you're working out, you can be sipping on your BCAAs, and then have your post-workout protein shake immediately after your workout. You can also do BCAAs throughout the day, like through the morning or through the afternoon or something, just as a supplemental beverage. So they don't need to be taken like at the same moment, but you can kind of split it up, have the BCAAs first and have the post-workout shake after, something like that. But yeah, I do think both of those are going to help you, especially if you have like ongoing or severe muscle soreness, then I would recommend those too.
We've got a lot of nutrition questions this show.
Yeah.
Okay, next one is, can you recommend a dairy-free, a lot of supplement questions, dairy-free protein powder that tastes good? So yeah, guys, like we recently have, or not even recently, like probably for a few months now, I only use egg protein powder. So
I was just thinking though, is egg considered dairy? Because you know that's always like a debate. Egg is in the dairy section.
I know, and it's so, guys, like, eggs are not dairy. I'm not going to go down
But I wonder if like that's what this question asker is thinking. Like maybe they're considering, like they don't want to hear egg protein because they think that's also dairy.
Well, the answer is it's not dairy, so you don't have nothing to worry about. So I take an egg protein powder. I've take 2 different types of egg protein powders, and it's just basically because one has a different flavor than the other flavor. So I've been using Roots. We'll link that up down below. It's an egg protein with a blend of a lot of different superfoods in there. It's a great protein. I took that for probably a year and a half, like just that's it. Then I just wanted to kind of change it up with a different flavor. So I worked with another company called Earth Nutri who came up with a very clean egg protein powder that's minimal ingredients and only flavored with stevia. And I love that. So we have coupon codes for that as well. We'll put it down below. But LiveLeanTV 25 on your Earth Nutri will get you a discount code. and LiveLeanTV will get you a discount code on the Roots product.
And just in case you're looking for one that doesn't have eggs either, because sometimes they want like no actual dairy or eggs, Earth Nutri also has a plant-based protein powder. We have it in the flavor caramel coffee, and that one doesn't have eggs or dairy. And it's just plant-based. It's like a mix of hemp and pea and other things. It's not our favorite, but you might like it because it is the best of the plant-based proteins that we've tried. It's definitely like, it mixes the best. It has the most reasonable flavor of the ones that I've tried. So you might want to give that a shot if you're looking for something like that.
iMac Champion is, what's your opinion on kombucha? My opinion on kombucha is I like the sound of it.
Kombucha.
Kombucha. I like saying it.
Yeah, I actually like it. I don't think you really like the taste of it, do you?
No, it tastes like bad breath to me.
That's what you always say. He's like, tastes like bad breath. I think it tastes like vinegar because it is a fermented drink. For those of you who don't know what kombucha is, it's like a tea that's made with sugar, right? There is some sugar in it, but the sugar ferments, so it's low in sugar, grams of sugar when you drink it. It has a lot of fizz to it, so almost like a soda. I think it's a great soda alternative for people who are used to drinking soda, although you're probably going to think it's really sour if you are a soda drinker because it's not sweet like soda. My opinion is that it's good and it's like fun to have once in a while, but it's kind of expensive.
It's expensive.
It's expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, relatively, it's like a serving of it is like $5. So I'm kind of like, is it worth the $5? I don't know. Not really. I usually have it like occasionally, maybe once a month, but it's not something that I would like buy and drink daily. Yeah, that's my opinion, is that I like it, but I don't like it daily.
Good.
And you don't like it at all, right?
I mean, if I like the taste of it, I'd probably drink it every once in a while, but I just don't like the taste of it.
I like the taste of it and sometimes, and I like the bubbles.
Yeah.
But
I only eat things that I like the taste of because we can make things sweet. I mean, no, it's true. It's like people think like,
well, do you think, I feel like
what?
everybody only likes to eat things that they like the taste of.
It's funny, I heard a quote from Jack LaLanne. You guys know Jack LaLanne, like the godfather of fitness, that he said, if it tastes good, don't eat it.
Oh, well, that's harsh.
Yeah, I mean, this was obviously back in the 60s and 70s when they really didn't know how to cook. But yeah, it's kind of like, if it tastes good, don't eat it because it's probably not healthy.
So like, don't ever enjoy food for the rest of your life.
I know.
No,
we kind of come past that. But I just thought that quote was funny.
Yeah.
Okay, next question from Horsley Crystal. What kind of foods help with hormonal imbalance in women? Also, does turmeric tea really help? So
the kinds of foods that help with this are the same kinds of foods that keep us healthy, lean, strong, all that. It just comes down to like single ingredient, healthy whole foods, like primarily plant-based, like we were talking about, but balanced macros and, you know, just making sure you're eating a lot of variety of nutrients, a balanced, what do you call it? Like arena of nutrients.
Well, just protein, carbs, healthy fats.
Balanced mix.
I think a lot of the issue is people don't eat enough healthy fats as well.
Absolutely. Like, that's very common.
Even though we're living in the year 2019, people still fear fat. Like I still get questions like, but there's so much fat in that. Like,
yeah, isn't that unhealthy?
It's like fat in my, like, if I would like look at my kind of journey in nutrition, like I started off being like protein.
Low
and now,
fat, right?
and yeah, like somewhat.
Medium fat,
but no, this was like when I wasn't creating content.
Oh, before
like this is when I was just learning things, and like, but once I started like putting stuff out there and creating content, I was like really good on fat. But I think I'm even becoming more big on fat now than I am on protein. Like I would say, like if I had to choose one macronutrient to live on for the rest of my life, I mean, obviously that's such a stupid thing to say, but fats right now in my diet, like fats probably make up the majority of my calories in my diet.
Yeah.
So if you're worried, if you're doing these low fat diets, which some people still do, I don't understand why, fats are so important for your hormones in your body. So important. Yeah. So I would say make sure you follow a diet that includes the healthy fats, the omega-3s, the monounsaturated fats. Like get them into your diet.
I was almost going to say you're going on a tangent here about fats that's like unrelated, and then I looked at the question and I was like, oh, we're talking about hormonal balance. So obviously this conversation about fat is important.
Yeah.
Because I do think, especially for women, that fat phobia is like huge.
Well, I was just about to say, and most people go low fat because they want to go low calorie. And that is what the issue is these low calorie diets that are low in fat is creating these hormonal imbalances in the women, especially if they're going to doing 3 hours of cardio a day and just like killing themselves in a huge calorie deficit. So everything that we talk about here on LiveLeanTV, like all the foods that we show you on our Instagram, on YouTube, wherever, these are the foods that you guys need to get in your diet. Oh, in my head.
Step forward,
boom. So, in turmeric tea, like, yeah, turmeric tea, is it going to solve any huge...
You don't sound sold.
Well, no, it's just like it's a nice to have, but it's just like, don't think it's going to be just drink turmeric tea and you're good.
And change nothing else.
And then change nothing else.
I think turmeric is healthy. I don't personally drink turmeric tea. I don't think that it's going to be like the magical answer to solve all hormonal imbalances, but I don't think it could hurt.
It's not going to hurt. It may help, but get the diet dialed in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think women are way more likely to just like live on sugar and carbs than guys are. So this is why you find this kind of issue even more so in women. So for all the women listening, we hope that you will make sure, check out your diet and just take a good look at what you're eating and how many healthy fats you have in your diet and what your macronutrient ratios are. And if you find that you're low in fats, that could be a clue.
Okay, last question here, and it kind of like, it's a long question, so I think it starts right here, right?
Yeah.
So let me just quickly summarize this. How many calories do you think I require to maintain my weight? I'm a female, 97 pounds, and 62 inches. I run about 80 miles a week. Workouts vary in long runs, intervals, and easy running. I run twice a day, almost every day. I also do weight training for 45 minutes every day.
She hacked the system and did several questions.
Weight is about a moderate intensity with upper and lower body days. I also do core and hip glute exercises every day for about 30 to 45 minutes. I'm confused about how many calories I should be eating. I'm averaging at 2,400. Is that too much or too little?
Well, okay.
So I think, Abby, we've talked, like, I think you've asked questions before, and I think you're like a high school track and field superstar, I would say, if you're doing that much training.
80 miles a week, plus weight training every day, plus core. Yeah.
So, we got to get your calories right, especially since you're in sports performance. And you're like burning a lot of energy here, especially at a young age. Your metabolism will probably just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
So based on what you just said there, 2,400 calories would not be...
She is a small person though, 97-pound female. It's a small person.
Yeah, so I would say where we would start you off at is we actually have a calorie calculator on our website. We'll link that down below. Or if you just go to Google and go LiveLeanTV calorie calculator, you'll see it there. Basically, you type in your height, your weight, and your age, your gender, and your activity level. So obviously for you, I would put your activity level at the very highest.
Top,
and then it'll compute how many calories in order to maintain, and then it'll tell you in order to lose weight or in order to gain muscle where you need to be. So I would start you right there. I'll be interested to find out where that puts you. And I mean, even where that is, I may even put you even more calories because of the amount of activity and just your age and your smaller in stature right now. So,
and also I want to make sure to note that even though our calorie calculator is very accurate, I consider it to be very accurate for most people, there could be some outliers. Like you might be one of the outliers that's like you're way more active than the average person, so you may need to adjust that number that you're given by the calculator like quite a bit. Yeah, and the only way you're really going to know is to test it. Like you said, you've been averaging 2,400. Like I would ask, how long have you been averaging that for? And what are the results?
Yeah, and so have you been losing weight? Have you been like maintaining? Because if you're maintaining, then that's probably where you need to be. If you're looking to gain weight and you're not gaining weight, you got to up it a little bit.
Right. But if you wanted to lose weight and you're not losing weight, then maybe decrease it a little bit. So you can make those little tweaks as you go. And just like we always talk about, applying is learning. That's how you're going to learn, because I don't think you are average. I think you are definitely an outlier here, and you're maybe going to need some special treatment, and you're going to have to see how it goes in your life.
I don't think any of our viewers are average. You guys are watching, you're applying this stuff, and you're getting amazing results. So
yes. Little
congratulations to you guys. So thank you guys for
proud of you.
Asking the questions. We messed up again because we're supposed to leave one question for the podcast.
Wait, don't we have still this one?
Oh, we do.
Oh, there is one.
There is one more. Okay.
Exciting.
So if you're watching on YouTube, guys, we're going to end the show right here. And if you want to hear the last question, head on over to our podcast. Just search LiveLeanTV in Spotify, search it on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. You'll find us. Make sure you click the subscribe button so you get notified when new podcasts are up. So until then, guys, we'll see YouTube later. Head on over to the podcast. Now let's talk directly to the podcast.
And keep.
Oh, yeah.
Living lean.
Boy.